So the sixth pitfall of masculine practice is the pursuit of freedom is a confession of captivity. How many men on this call have heard in kind of masculine practice circles that freedom, being freedom driven, that freedom is kind of the ultimate mission of the masculine? How many of you heard that? And then to pursue that freedom is to fulfill your masculine duty, right? Your masculine mission looks like pursuing that freedom in some degree. The lower levels of pursuing freedom are like getting enough money where you don't have to work anymore, or getting enough money where you can do whatever you want, go wherever you want. That's a form of freedom. So money at a lower level is attached to that sense of freedom that we have. The ability to choose any intimate partner that we want is another kind of freedom. Freedom of choice, right? So at our core, we are motivated to free ourselves. Even if it's that it's just freeing ourselves from work at the end of a shift. Like, oh, it's 4:30, I'm getting off in 30 minutes. Oh, it's 10 minutes to 5. I can't wait to get off. Okay, 5 o'clock. Oh, free from work. And that small freedom we gain from just being off of work. And then we go home and we have a beer. Ah, another taste of freedom. And then we look at porn and we ejaculate. The feeling of ejaculating is another release as a form of freedom. Now, these are all lower levels of this pursuit we're always in to try and get free. Because in a large sense, we feel trapped. We feel caged inside of these bodies, caged inside of our minds, caged inside of these feelings that we have. And we just want to get out. We just want this kind of ultimate sustained relief of burden, of obligation, where life doesn't feel like a grind anymore. How many of the men here can relate to what I'm saying? Is the thing about the pursuit of freedom. The pursuit of freedom makes a great story. The story of Gladiator, the story of Braveheart were based on that. They make great stories. How noble, how incredible to fight for freedom, right? And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you watch those movies, those men don't get free during their lifetime. Their freedom is symbolized in their death, right? Even at the very last scene in Gladiator, the guy touches the ground and says something to the effect of like, oh, now you are finally free, right? After he dies. So is that what this is about? The ultimate grind such that we're liberated at death? Or does liberation come before that? Can we actually experience directly a kind of freedom that we're all wanting, but have it while we're alive? Well, the lineages of meditation and yoga certainly suggest that we can, that it is attainable, that it is possible, and the many great sages and wise men for a long time, for thousands of years, have said this is absolutely possible. But we cannot get there from our prisons. If the feeling we have is I'm imprisoned and tomorrow I won't be, we're already making a grave mistake. We're misunderstanding what masculine practice actually is. Because your pursuit of freedom is your confession that you are captivated, that you are imprisoned, that you feel imprisoned. And we can't get free from prison. So freedom is something that has to be realized now, in this body, in this mind, in this state, in these emotions, under these conditions. It makes no difference what our past looked like, what our present looks like, what we've gone through in life. It makes no difference. The objective is still the same. Freedom that's realized in the present moment and not chased after like on a hamster wheel. Now, this is one of the most difficult aspects of spiritual practice because it's the thing everybody's after, but it's the thing very few people ever experience, or ever have, or ever know. But what can benefit you all tremendously in your own work, in your own pursuits, is to recognize that freedom is not out there in some future moment. And if you place freedom out there in some future moment, you will never have it because it will always be somewhere out there in a future moment. Because the activity that you're generating to confess, I'm captivated, continues to be what gets generated. This sense of captivity is what you're generating. Chronic sense of captivity, that I am trapped and my freedom lies outside of me, somewhere else. Another moment, but not this moment. If there's any freedom to be found, it's to be found here and now. That's what all of the wise men, the wisest of men, in the arts of meditation and yoga have revealed to us. So as you do your work, as you practice, as you show up, remember that if you're putting your freedom off to another moment and not here and now, you will never get free that way. Bring your attention back to this moment and explore freedom there. And one thing that you can do in that vein, again, there's endless techniques and philosophies written about this. But one thing that I'll give you is observe what makes you feel imprisoned. And I don't just mean notice it. Anyone can do that. Anyone can feel imprisoned by their job or their bank account or their partner. There's no intelligence to that. I mean, really sit in deep stillness and observe what happens inside of you that generates this story that you are imprisoned. What is the mechanism that fabricates this story that you are trapped? If you understand the way that mechanism works, you begin to liberate yourself. You begin to wake up past that bondage and experience and taste freedom in varying degrees and varying levels. But that's the freedom that can only be found in the here and now.